Imagine visiting a castle so feared that even hardened soldiers refused to stay there after sunset. Centuries ago, people whispered that screams echoed through its halls at night. Today, tourists still report shadows, strange figures, and an overwhelming sense of dread inside its walls. The technology around us has changed, but Leap Castle has not. This is the story of Ireland's most terrifying fortress. Hidden in the countryside of County Offaly, Ireland, Leap Castle stands like a dark scar from another age. From a distance, it appears beautiful in the way many medieval castles do. Ancient stone walls, towering battlements, and rolling green hills surrounding it. But behind that beauty lies a history soaked in betrayal, violence, and death. Leap Castle is believed to have been built around the 13th century by the powerful O'Carroll clan, a family known both for their influence and their brutality. During medieval Ireland, power was often maintained through fear, and the O'Carrolls ruled their territory with an iron grip. But what made Leap Castle infamous was not war against enemies, it was violence within the family itself. One of the darkest moments in the castle's history occurred in the 1500s during a bitter power struggle between two O'Carroll brothers. According to legend, one brother, Tige O'Carroll, became consumed by ambition and jealousy. His older brother was a priest who was conducting a religious ceremony inside the castle chapel. Then the unthinkable happened. As the priest stood before his family at the altar, Tige burst into the chapel with armed men and murdered his own brother in front of everyone. Blood covered the sacred room. The act became known as the Bloody Chapel Killing, and the chapel itself earned a terrifying reputation that continues to this day. Visitors have long claimed to feel an unnatural heaviness inside the room. Some describe sudden cold temperatures, while others report hearing whispers or sensing an unseen presence watching them. But the Bloody Chapel was only the beginning. For centuries, Leap Castle became a place of imprisonment, torture, and execution. Rival clans, enemies, and suspected traitors were often brought inside the fortress and never seen again. Then, in 1922, workers renovating the castle made a horrifying discovery. Hidden deep within the structure was a secret dungeon concealed behind a wall. Inside, they found massive piles of human skeletons. The remains were so numerous that it purportedly took several cartloads to remove them. What made the discovery even more disturbing was the design of the dungeon itself. At the bottom was a wooden spike trap. Prisoners were allegedly thrown into the pit, where they either died from the fall or were left trapped in darkness until starvation claimed them. This chamber became known as the oubliette, a prison designed not just to hold people, but to make them disappear. And according to local legends, many of those who died there never truly left. Over time, stories surrounding Leap Castle grew darker. One of the most famous legends involves a mysterious entity known as the Elemental. Witnesses described it as a terrifying shadow-like figure with rotting skin, glowing eyes, and an unbearable smell of decay. Some claimed that simply seeing the creature caused overwhelming fear and sickness. Unlike traditional ghost stories, the Elemental was described almost as something ancient, something tied to the castle itself. Even members of the castle's later owners reported strange experiences. In the early 20th century, the Ryan family, who restored parts of the castle, claimed to witness unexplained phenomena. Doors reportedly slammed shut on their own. Footsteps echoed through empty corridors. Objects moved without explanation. Perhaps most chilling were the reports of ghostly figures appearing at night. One story tells of two young girls seen holding hands near the staircase before vanishing into thin air. Another describes a silent woman in black wandering the halls carrying a child. Skeptics argue that many of these experiences can be explained by psychology, darkness, and the power of suggestion. Old castles naturally create eerie environments. Creaking floors, shifting shadows, and isolation can influence perception. But Leap Castle continues to stand apart because of the sheer consistency of the stories. Generation after generation, visitors who knew nothing about the legends often described similar feelings and experiences. For American audiences fascinated by haunted locations and dark history, Leap Castle represents something uniquely compelling. It is not simply a haunted house attraction created for entertainment. It is a real medieval fortress with a documented history of violence, political betrayal, and human suffering. And unlike many historical sites, much of its terrifying reputation comes directly from actual events. The castle has appeared in paranormal documentaries and ghost hunting programs from around the world, further fueling its global reputation. Yet despite all the attention, Leap Castle has never fully surrendered its secrets. Today, parts of the castle remain standing, weathered by centuries of Irish rain and wind. Visitors can tour sections of the property, though many still describe an uncomfortable feeling the moment they step inside. Standing within those ancient stone walls, it becomes easy to understand why the stories survive. The silence feels heavy, the corridors feel too narrow, and the shadows seem to linger just a little longer. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, Leap Castle forces visitors to confront something very real, the lasting impact of violence and fear. Because history doesn't always disappear with time. Sometimes it stays behind in the walls, and in places like Leap Castle, the past may not be as dead as it seems.